Hey y'all, hey. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with me for episode 2 of the Book I Won't Write podcast. I'm going to wait for a second as you guys flood in here. As you get here, please like, tag, and share. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Tonight is going to be good. We're going to get a little personal tonight. I have live viewers today, as it would seem. So if you ever catch me on here laughing when I first started, that is why. But once again, I just want to thank y'all. Please like, tag, and share. Go ahead and share this with somebody that you know. If you haven't already, follow my social media at the Book I Won't Write podcast on Facebook. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, build that up, my subscribers there. And I'm going to get started in just a second. Tonight's episode title is called It Was a Setup. It was a setup. Everything that I've been through from childhood to now definitely set me up to be where I am now, to see God the way that I do now. And I'm grateful for it. I wasn't always grateful for things I went through as a child or how I grew up, per se. But now that I'm following God and I am learning what my purpose is, I see why all of it was necessary. And I see how all of that had a purpose in my life to get me to where I am now, so that I'm able to communicate and reach people who have experienced some of the similar things that I have. And I'm just so grateful for the things that I have gone through. I wasn't always grateful for it. I'm just now, literally, probably this week, starting to be grateful for some of the things I've been through. And I'm going to go ahead and just get started with that. For those of you who are on Facebook who follow me, y'all might have seen the picture that I posted earlier, the episode cover for today. And it was just it was a photo collage of images from my childhood to now when I was a little girl, and now with me and my own little girl. So each one of those pictures that I chose carried weight, as far as how I view myself now, and how I view God even. And I'm going to go into that in a second. So people who know me closely, church members, family, friends I've had for years. Most of you know that I'm not actually from Columbus, Georgia. I was born in Brooklyn. My real parents reside in Brooklyn still to this day. And I came down here ever since I was 8 months old. And I stayed with my great aunt and great uncle, but who I call mommy and daddy. So I've been down here all of my life. I always knew that, who my parents were. But I just never had that close bond with them, that close relationship. And a lot of my childhood trauma happened when I just came to the realization that, I'm mommy and daddy's baby, but at the end of the day, I'm really not. And I carried that, and I would carry that into friendships and relationships, just that rejection, that unwantedness, even though they never made me feel like that. It was just, that's just how I felt personally. And then just carrying that along with me damaged me to an extent, because I would try to overcompensate in people's lives. As far as friendships, I try to buy people. I couldn't be alone. I needed people to be around me, even just to go to the mall. I'm calling somebody to get gas. Just all these different little things that set up how I viewed myself, even though, like I said, they never made me feel that way. And there's also a picture of mommy and daddy and my siblings. And they structured my life in such a way, as far as me parenting. Some of the things that I learned growing up, I felt as though other people, they came up having street smarts and stuff, but at my house, it's God this, is God that. And I didn't always appreciate that the way that I do now, because I'm learning that the way God called us to live is a certain way, it's set apart, it's different from everybody. So whereas in certain instances you may need to have street smarts, if you're living the way God intended for us to live, you don't need some of this, because some of these things would never happen to you if you were following God's guidelines the way that he set up for things to be. And that was one of the things that I wanted to speak on heavily. When I was growing up in church, I'd always see mommy go to all these different services, and she'd always wake up reading the word and praying before she did anything. I can remember going, getting ready for school. It's helped me now, as far as the kind of parent that I want to be to my child. I'd see her wake up in the morning. It'd be like 6 something in the morning before I'm getting ready to get on the bus to go to school. And she's in there praying, and I knew not to go in there and bother her because that was her time with God. And now I'm at a point where now I'm making the choice to get up early. This morning I slipped up. I ain't get up. But so I'm making a conscious effort to make sure that I'm getting up and I'm spending that time with God, because it really does set the precedent for my day. I'm so much happier. I'm so much more patient when I do get up in the morning. I do get in my word, and I'm finding that as I'm studying, the way that God talks to me through his word, I'm no longer just reading it. I made a status about that the other day. I'm no longer just reading it, but I'm actually studying it, and it's starting to make sense to me, and I'm seeing how to apply it to my life daily. And mommy, she would have certain scriptures that she would have written down that she knew from memory. She would read them every day, every single day. She might read something else in the Bible, but these were certain scriptures she was going to read. I know it was Psalms 51, Psalms 34, a whole lot of different other scriptures that she would use. And I'm seeing now, like, certain scriptures you really do need to apply to your life every day. You do need to have them committed to memory. I know the fruits of the spirit, just how to be a Christian, how to draw other people to Christ. These are things that as Christians we need to know, and they need to be deep rooted within us. I know Psalms 51 for a fact. I stress, and a lot of times when I pray, when I have to do corporate prayer at church, I'll have a reference for that. It's about repentance, and that's because mommy prayed it all the time. Mommy read it all the time. And it's so funny because growing up, I said I'd never be like mommy. There's a picture. There's a picture of mommy and two of my aunties. One has passed, and one is still here. But they were like three triplets. Every church service they had, they was going to different people churches. They're going, they're attending. I'm like, ain't no way I'm gonna do all that. As soon as I get grown, I'm not going to church all this many times, every Sunday, every week. This not even my church. Why are we going? And then they drag me along, and I'd be so upset because I could have been home. I could have stayed at the house with daddy. Because daddy, he wasn't doing all that. Whatever his church had, that's what he was going to do. He was going to volunteer. He was going to help. He was going to be on the hospitality committee and be a deacon and do everything he had to do at his church. We're not going to 27 different services. I never understood that. And now it's so funny because now I'm that person. And you know how you go to the club and you be like, oh, what's the move after this? What this club got going? What that club got going on? Is there any kickbacks, anything like that? Now that's how I feel about church. Now it's like, even I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone with my sister and I called. I said, what you doing? And then she was like, finna pull up at so-and-so church. I said, oh, that was tonight? I said, all right, I'm finna be there in a second. I'm finna find me a babysitter and I'll be over there. And it's so funny to me because I never thought I'd feel that way about church. I grew up in church. So at one point, it's like, I'm tired of going. Like, why? I didn't understand. But each service that I go to now as an adult, it's like I gain something that I take away and I'm able to apply to my life. It helps fuel me through the week. If I've already applied a word I've got on Sunday, if I already got that deep rooted and now I get something else that I didn't think about or that my pastor may not have hit on yet, but we're all in the spirit of agreement, then it just helps me. It really does something for me. And I never understood it as a child, but it set me up to see that this is like going to church this many times is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't understand what it was doing for mommy and my aunties then, but now I get it. And then also, mommy used to lead 12 o'clock prayer at the church I grew up in. And sometimes there would be nobody there. It would just be me and mommy. And I'd be mad because it's like, mommy coming, she leaving the house every week to come do, 12 o'clock prayer, but can't nobody show up. But y'all be wanting, prayers and stuff. Y'all need her when something going on, but y'all can't even come and pray for like an hour. Like Jesus said when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, you can't pray with me for 1 hour. And that would really bother me. But it showed me now persistence in ministry, regardless of if one person comes, even if it is just you still pray the heavens down like it's a room full of people, like it's Sunday morning. It showed me consistency. It showed me not to be swayed by numbers, by who all's going to be there. It showed me to still be able to intercede on the behalf of other people, even when they don't show up to intercede on their own behalf. It showed me how you still have an assignment as an intercessor. And now it's funny because I also pray at church. And that's something I never saw myself doing. It's a word I received when I was like 9 or 12, I want to say, but I'm not thinking nothing of it. But it's so funny because I watched mommy do all of these things. I watched her lead a life of prayer. I watched her do all of these things and reading the word on a consistent basis. Everybody else might read like a regular book or watch TV, but the mommy's Bible was her TV. Mommy would watch T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, everybody that came on TBN or the Word Network day in and day out. And I'm like, there just ain't this much Jesus in the world, baby. Like, it's so much to the point where I wait till she fell because mommy was a little older, so I wait till mommy fell asleep so I could steal the TV remote and go watch Disney Channel. Because baby, ain't no way you falling asleep to Jesus and then she'll wake up and grab the remote and flip it right back to TD Jakes. Oh baby, I was upset. I didn't understand, but now I'm still not at that point now. But now I found myself in a season where I can't just binge watch shows how I used to. Now it's like if I'm not reading my word, I can't read nothing. Like I have so many books from Barnes and Nobles that I haven't touched. I got a book in my car right now. I have a book on my dresser right now. I open it up and I can't read it. I can't read it, but then I get in my word and it's like everything just flow from there. And it's like I'm hungry to read it. It's like I'm hungry to know God in a deeper way than I have before. Because how can I come on here and talk to y'all about God, but I don't even know him on a personal level how I should? I don't even know him because he is the word. So how am I supposed to explain him to you every day, every Monday, every week through statuses I might post in in-person conversations if I'm not actively getting to know him daily? Because we're supposed to be in our word daily. We're supposed to pray daily, even if it's just one chapter. When I was younger, you couldn't make me read the Bible. That was punishment for me. I remember one time I got in trouble at school, mommy made me read the Bible. But me trying to be slick, I was like, I bet I'm gonna find the quickest thing to read in the Bible so I can go ahead and be done. I can tell you how many chapters Jonah got. Jonah got like 4 chapters. I think Obadiah got 3. The quickest thing I could find, I was gonna read it. It didn't mean nothing to me at the time. I was just trying to hurry up. I think Esther might got 8 or 10. I don't know. But one time she made me read Psalms something, honey. It was long. It was long. I can't remember which chapter it was, but that was just torture. It didn't make sense. It's full of all these crazy names I ain't never heard before. Ain't nobody heard since back in the Bible days. It just was torture to me. But now you put a Bible in front of me and I get excited because God brings revelation to me when I read it. And I always pray that God will reveal to me what it is that I'm supposed to be reading. Even just on last week, I started reading First Corinthians, and it was so funny to me because the feedback I got from the first video I did, somebody told me, "Oh, you saying or you talking in slang, and you should be more professional." And it's like the people that this podcast is for, the people that I'm called to. This is how they talk. Why am I talking like somebody else? When I'm not somebody else, I'm me. I'm just me. I can't be nobody but me. Now, when the time comes, I know how to switch it up, and talk professional and use good grammar, But for the setting that I'm in, it's a personal conversation. It's not just this deep rooted, I'm finna be on television type of thing. I can switch it up if I need to. The vernacular hit. However, for this setting, I know that the people I'm called to, this is how I relate to them. And then it shows in First Corinthians the same thing that I felt was affirmed because it said it doesn't take you talking, enunciating a certain type of way or sounding like everybody else. You just be you, because the message that you carry, the assignment that you have, will be lost in you trying to, catch every time you say or catch every little slang word that you have, and now you're stalling, and now people dropping off because you fumbling trying to be somebody who you're not, trying not to be yourself just to appease someone else who the podcast isn't even for. I appreciate everyone who's on here, but I understand my assignment. I understand my assignment is to the people who don't know God on a deep level, who aren't in church right now, who maybe be in church right now, but you feel your relationship with God has faded. You feel like you can't hear him clearly. That's who I'm called to in this season. And I honor that and I understand that. So I have to flow the way that I do. My pastor always says, you might not pray like me, but you still have an assignment to pray. And I take that in everyday life. I might not do something as good as someone else. There might be 50 million people in the same lane that I'm in, but I can only do what I'm doing, how God has called me to do it. The way I flow is the way I flow. So just the simple fact that I just opened my Bible up. You hear people say, just open the Bible up if you don't know what to read. Just go to a page and start reading from there. I did that. And what I needed to hear to affirm me, because I'm a type of person, sometimes I do need a little affirmation and validation. And for God to affirm me in his word, it's like, okay, God, if you ever want to hear God's voice, get in his word. And it's so funny. You'll always hear me say on my platform that God is so strategic, because to me, that's who he is. He is a master strategist. Every time I need something or I might be fumbling, he gives me the words to say. He gives me the ideas. I've never just been a creative individual. Getting on a platform like this, creating graphics or anything like that, that's so not who I am. Like I've never been that. I'm walking in that now, but that's never been my identity. And the fact that God gives me these strategies, he gives me these ideas, it just completely blows my mind, because he's such an amazing God. He really thinks about every little thing that he does. I was telling my sister on the way here to the CoWork Boutique that I didn't have a plan. I never just get a plan. Even when I was teaching Sunday school a few months back, it's like I'm studying all week and I'm waiting to have a plan. I like to have that control, like we talked about last week. I like to have a sense of control that makes me feel prepared. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. It makes me feel as though when I relay my message to other people, that they'll feel as though I know what I'm doing. I didn't just come up here and do something haphazardly. But it's like God will give me nothing. And it's like, God, what am I supposed to be saying? I'm supposed to be doing this podcast every week, every Monday. What am I saying? I don't know what I'm talking about. And now I feel ill prepared, and I already be nervous. On the way here, I was shaking the table. I was shaking the room, baby. I was breaking every chain, honey, the way my leg was shaking so hard. I was so nervous to get on here because I don't like being unprepared. And it's like God gave me a topic, and that was the fact that it was a setup. And then he just dropped that on me last night. I want to say last night or this morning. I was like, okay, so God, what else? What else I'm supposed to say? Because I don't know. And that makes me nervous. And then I miss spending quiet time with him today. And then it was like, oh God, out of all days, today should have been the day when I was fasting and praying and reading early in the morning. But here we are. I'm still being obedient. And then that's another thing about things being set up in my life. I would see Mommy go through different things, or I see Bertha go through different things. And it's like they still never wavered in their faith. They still do what it is that God called them to do. Bertha used to be on the praise team. She still sing regardless of what she had going on. And Mommy would still do the same thing. She might have been sick or other things might have been going on, and she'd still show up and pray how she was supposed to. You'd never be able to tell when something was wrong. Like with Mommy, I never saw her just really go through and look off. I've never really seen Mommy just cry. Mommy don't really cry. The only time I really just seen Mommy break down and cry is when my brother died. But outside of that, I don't see her cry. She showed me how to go through things with grace. And it's so funny that now as I'm talking about it, I didn't even realize that until now when I got on here and started talking. Everything that I've ever needed, I had already. And sometimes we get so caught up in other people's lives and what other people grew up like, and we forget what we have. We don't pay attention to what we have at home already. And it's so easy to lose focus and be ungrateful when you don't consider all the blessings that God has already given you. I'm so thankful that I grew up the way I did. I might not have been taught everything that my peers have been taught, but I was taught how to live a godly life. I was taught how to be a godly woman. Now, whether or not I listened to that and I actually applied that to my life, that's on me. But mommy always used to say, you can't say that we didn't tell you. Every time I might have done something wrong, or she thought I was going to do something wrong, well, you can't say, Jahara, that you didn't know. You can't say that I didn't tell you, because I did. And that is so true. And it's like, just now, just watching myself flourish and go to church and grow, it's so amazing to me, because I see now how I'm so much like mommy. A few months back, we had a girl chat, me and the people at my church, at my house. And it's so funny because mommy used to have people come over her house and they just be praying. And then my brother caught wind of it because I was supposed to come over there and see him and the girls. And he was like, dang, Jen Jr. And then I was like, you know what? I really am turning into mommy. Who would have thought I'd have all these church folks up in my house? We'd be sitting here talking about God. I never would have thought it. I just knew I'd never be nothing like that. I'd never go to all these many different services. I could have sworn I wouldn't read nothing. I used to pride myself, well, not pride myself, but that's just who I associated myself to be. I just used to say, I don't read like that. I'm not praying. I'm not doing all of this extra stuff. And now I realize how much I need it, how much help I have when I do the things that I saw mommy carry out and do. Also, there's a picture of my granny on there. And Granny stayed in New York as well, and we didn't spend that much time together. I wish that we would have. We didn't have the closest relationship, but the older I got, I realized how much she loved me and how much I needed her. And one of the most important thing she ever taught me was about her church. Granny went to this church for years and years, like long before I was even thought of. It was this nice, fancy church. Like, it was a big church. They had crutches on the wall from miracles that didn't happen and wheelchairs on the wall. I thought she'd never leave that church. But one thing she taught me was, I'm not going to sit here and dry rot at no church. You can sit there and dry rot if you want to, but I got to move. And what that taught me was that you can be so comfortable in a place where you are, whether you grew up there or whether the singing good or whether there's friends that you have that go to that church, and you could just be spiritually dying because you're not getting anything. You're not getting a fresh word. And that's nothing against the ministry. That's nothing against the leaders, the people in leadership. Sometimes you just have to shift, and you have to understand when it's time for you to shift, regardless of how long you've been there. And I had struggled for a long time whether or not I was going to leave. And then that word just kept on coming back to me. I kept hearing her verse. You can sit there and kept hearing her voice that you can sit there and dry rot if you want to, but I'm not. I gotta go. And then I grew up in doing everything. Everybody knew me. I'm like the church baby. Y'all knew me since I was 8 months old. Why would I leave? I do this, I do that. But it got to a point where now my spirit is irritated because I'm not growing. I'm no longer feeling as though I even am required to come to church, regardless of what I did. I sat myself down from some stuff. I was like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to. And then I shifted and I went somewhere else. And then now I'm just intaking the word. Now I'm just learning. I'm growing. Then I start back doing stuff again. Start praise dancing. Was gonna be on the praise team, but I was like, God, that ain't my gift in this season. That ain't it. Couldn't hold a tune. Couldn't hold a note. But the humming be fire. Y'all ain't never heard no hum, honey. That's a Holy Ghost hum right there. The humming be fire. But the singing, not so. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it's because I sat myself down. I said, God, I ain't singing no more. Because I don't know. It just won't hit. But so, like I said, I was praise dancing. I'm still active. I'm sewing. I'm tithing. I'm doing what I need to do. And then here comes another shift, and I'm like, God, I don't want to be no church hopper now. They talk bad about folks who just be going from church to church. I don't want them to feel like I don't know how to settle myself. But it was time for me to go, and the things, all of the warfare that I've experienced since I left, I know I wouldn't have been able to get through it until I got to where I am now. I wouldn't have been able to grow until I got where I am now. And even with mommy, she shifted and she left for a season. And both of my aunties even left for a season. So these are all examples of how you can be influential in a place, or how you can learn and grow and be loved at and love on the people in a place and still have to move. Your assignment shifts, the things that you grow through change. Mommy left. The people who know me know that mommy has dementia now. So when she left, now there's all these people at the church she attends, and they're bringing food by the house. They're making sure mommy and daddy don't lack for nothing. They got somebody there who would sit with her when she was physically attending. And I just count that as such a blessing, because God will really set you up with people who are there for your benefit. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for all of the examples that were set before me in my aunties. They were so influential in my life, whether or not they've ever realized it. And just showing up for mommy, even though she has dementia, still calling, still checking on us, on me and Bertha specifically, because one of our aunties is like another mama for us. And I just appreciate that. I appreciate their boldness that they had. I know one of my aunties, Mother Patterson, she just screamed glory every time we had church. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so loud. She really felt that thing. And then mama just be screaming hallelujah. And then my auntie, Mother Hudgens, she just be breaking out a song. Baby, I look forward to testimony service, honey. I look forward to, because she was going to sing her song. I can't even think of the song right now. But she'd sing it, and could nobody sing it like her. And every time I hear the song, she is the person I think of. But I'm just so grateful for their example. I didn't always appreciate being in church all the time. I didn't always appreciate, not getting what I call realistic advice, because I do believe that everything doesn't have to be a churchy response. That's one thing I will say. And even growing up how I grew up, now I know what I would do in my own life and what I wouldn't. I understand how to, chew the meat and spit out the bones, basically. I know how I would want to parent. I know what wasn't as effective, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I was hard headed. So some of the stuff that mommy and daddy said to me, I probably would have been far off in life if I had to just listen to what they said. But I didn't, because I'm hard headed. I'm still hard headed sometimes, and that's something God is rooting out of me, because He doesn't let me have my way in a lot of situations. Hey there, y'all. I'm just now looking at the comments. Hey, hey, hey. But what was I about to say? Oh Lord, I just drew a blank. I'm back. Okay, so yeah, I was very hard headed as a child, and the godly advice might have worked for some people, but me, I've always been the person that had to learn stuff the hard way, and it started at an early age. Matter of fact, I remember when I was 2, baby, mommy told me not to grab no grits off the stove, but I went and I did it anyway. And that mark has never left me. And you would think with a mark like that, I should just look down and be like, Jahara, stop being hard headed. You ought to listen. But no, of course not. That's too easy. That's too much like right, as the old folks would say. Why would I do that? And then every single time I find myself in situations, I'll be like, dang, God, I should have just listened the first time, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm so grateful. And then another thing I want to say is, I said in the beginning when I started the video that I didn't have a close relationship with my biological mother. And what I have found is that the more you say that you don't want to be like somebody, the more you say you don't want to reflect who they are, or the more you say you can't stand something in a person, a lot of times that same thing that you can't stand is inside of you. And that's something that you need to work on. And then you'll notice it in other people. And I know for me, I get around certain people and it's like, I don't like you. That's one of them traits she got. You acting like her. Mm-mm. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. And then as I have become a mother, I notice certain things. I be like, dang, how are you trying so bad not to be like that? And you doing the same exact thing every single day. You try not to talk like that, you doing the same thing. You try not to be disrespectful, you got a mouth on you too now. And these are different things that I've observed. And it's also shown me grace. It's also shown me as we are now rebuilding our relationship. It's a process because that's been 25 going on 26 years of hurt. And I'm just now really, truly, actively working on it. And it has not been easy because it's been something that was so deep rooted. And I say this in love because I understand that, we go through different things, and as an adult now, we have to give our parents grace because some of the things that we feel like should have been common sense, they just didn't know. And nothing could have shown me that more than being a parent now. Just navigating, uh, being a mom and being an employee, being a wife, being an entrepreneur. It's just so many different things. And it's like sometimes you don't have the support that you may want to have or that you may need. And for my mom, she didn't, but luckily, she was able to sit me down here with mommy and daddy. So that God blessed through that. And I used to feel so hurt. I used to feel I never really dealt with it. I used to decompartmentalize. I used to act like nothing was wrong with me. I used to act like it was never an issue, like it never hindered me in any kind of way. And then I'd be put in certain situations where it's like, dang, I wish you would have just did this. And then I realized that I still hadn't healed from that hurt, and I'm still currently healing. But it wasn't until I started therapy that it's like, Jahira, some of the things that you thought you healed from, you never really healed from. You just never dealt with. And going through life, there's some stuff you just got to deal with. It looks ugly. It may take forever, and that's my biggest issue. I don't like how long the hurting process takes. I don't like being hurt. I don't. After I didn't experience hurt one time, oh baby, you ain't never got to worry about me again. If I ask you for something one time and you tell me you can't do it, and I feel like I would have broke my back for you and done all of it for you, and you can't do the same thing for me, you ain't never got to worry about me putting myself in a situation like that again. And that's deterred me from getting blessings that I could have received because I don't know how to open my mouth and just voice, hey, this is something I deal with. But everyone's not like that. Everyone isn't meant to hurt you. And then some of the things that the hurt that you keep experiencing is self-inflicted hurt because you won't heal from what initiated the hurt. And that's something that I've had to learn. I've learned how to show people grace. I've had to learn how to be forgiving because how can I want somebody else's forgiveness so bad, and yet when I get over here, this is my Achilles heel. It's like I just can't let it go. But I'm begging you to forgive me. I'm begging you to just let it go. We should be able to move on, right? How you think the other person in your life feels. And I've also learned too with friendships. Like I said on last week, every friendship isn't a friendship to throw away. You have to learn people's seasons. And I used to hate when people would say, oh, well, I'm just like this, I'm just like that. But then turn around and there's certain things about myself. It's like, Jahira, you just like this. And it's something so deep rooted and it's hard to change. It is so hard to change bad habits. It's so hard to change habits that you didn't even realize were bad until you sat down and reflected or you heard people's feedback about how they feel. The same way people can be villains in your story, you're probably a villain in somebody else's story. And I think that's one of the hardest truths I had to come to terms with. The fact that even though I feel like I'm so great and I'm so nice of a person, I've inflicted hurt on other people, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And that's something that I had to come to terms with and deal with. And the same grace that I want to be shown to me, the same grace that God gives us on a daily basis, because we mess up so many times within a day. It's pitiful. But God still forgives us and he throws our sins away into the sea of forgetfulness, never to be thought of again. And we might be sitting here repenting, begging God to forgive us 27 times. He didn't already let it go the first time. When I was younger, every time they used to ask, who needed to be saved or rededicate their life, I used to pray silently because I was like, God, I mess up every day, man. I can't get nothing right. I keep on messing up. This is for me. I used to struggle whether or not I was going to go to the altar or not because it's like, God, this is me. This is me. I keep messing up. But the great thing about God is after you do it that one time, you're good. You just have to really be repentant in your heart and not continue to do the same things. Um, I'm grateful. I'm really am grateful. I'm learning now to be grateful for the things I've been through because all of them weren't bad. As I'm walking in purpose, I see how it's able to help other people because similar people go through, the things that you go through. Like I always say, it's not just what you go through isn't so personal. We shouldn't take everything so personal. Everything isn't about us. A lot of things are for people connected to you. And I learned that even in high school, just the conversations I have with my friends that I'm still close with now, and just coworkers and stuff. There are a lot of people out here going through the same exact thing that you're going through. And it's not always so personal. God just put it on you to go through because you're able to explain it to somebody that might not be in the reach of somebody else that knows him the way that you do. And it's not that I just know him so good and I'm just a pastor or anything like that, but I've been through things and I know that I wouldn't have gotten through them without his help, without his presence in my life, without the prayers that my granny and my mom and my daddy prayed for me. I wouldn't have been at the place where I am now as quickly as I got here had I not been raised up in church, had I not been taught this lifestyle. As many times as I might get up and I might be in my feelings and I presently might not want to go to church, I might not want to pray, I might not want to do anything, I might not want to moderate, but because I was raised that way, because I know what it does, because I tapped into how it benefits me, how it helps me, now it's become a lifestyle choice for me. It's no longer an option. I'm able to push through, and I'm glad that I was able to witness mommy and her two best friends, my aunties relationship, because now I have that. Now I'm in a setting where I do have accountability partners. I do have people that'll hold me up, who know my deepest darkest stuff that nobody else may know. I'm able to have that sense of accountability and have people who are really in my corner rooting for me, who can pray for me. It is so important to have people in your life. I'll always say this, I will always stress this because I'm so grateful for this. And I see how much it helps to have people who can really get a prayer through for you. That is so important. That's something I always saw exemplified with the relationship of mommy and my auntie. So I'm grateful for that and to that. Also, I'm grateful for the relationship that me and my daddy had, my present daddy and my biological father, because it showed me. Pastor preached on this Sunday, matter of fact. And it was so funny because I had just talked about it in therapy with my therapist, how a lot of times Pastor, she'll call God daddy. And it's like, I don't, because me and my real daddy, it's like we didn't have that relationship and now we're cool. But me and the daddy I grew up with, me and him, we bumped heads a lot because we're so strong minded. We're strong in our opinions. And it's like, you're not going to say anything to me. And I just let that ride. When I feel like I'm right, I'm right. And I'm going to speak on it. And he felt the same way. But it's like he's the adult. And it's like, even if I come with a spirit of humility explaining how I'm right about something, it's like I'm the adult and you the child. And it don't too much matter what you're saying. And now, like, as I'm older, now we're able to communicate better. And once I moved and stuff, of course our relationship grew better, because when you have two adults in the household and you have two strong-minded people in the household, it don't too much go well. But now that I'm growing and maturing, I understand where I was wrong at in some instances. And I'm just able to see that's how I view God. A lot of times we view God as our relationships with people in the natural. So if God is, a friend to the friendless, but you have sorry friends, you feel like God can't be a good friend to you. If you had a not so good relationship with your parents and he's a mother to the motherless and a father to the fatherless, now you're looking at God's side eye. I'm like, my mama sent me, away when I was 8 months old. So now, God, I feel like you're not going to look out for me. I feel like you're just going to throw me away too. And that may not even be the case, like as far as your parents' intentions. Or, I felt like, daddy ain't my real daddy and he ain't got to care about me. And we done got into it and words was exchanged. And now I feel like, God, you look at me the same way when I mess up. Now I'm ashamed to talk to you. Now, oh, that's so good. Now I'm ashamed to pray and come to you, even though you know it anyway. But now I'm scared to talk to you because I've experience that hurt, that rejection, that disappointment, and what that does to the dynamic of my relationships in my life, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's church members. And I feel like people have this expectation of where I'm supposed to be, but now I'm disappointing them, and now I shut down. Now I don't know how to cry out for help. And we do God the same exact way, and we hinder our help. We hinder our help. God wants to help us, just like with a parental relationship. Your parents want to help you. I know for me, Bertha, a lot of times she'll always ask me, Jahara, what is it that you need? You good? You okay? Your light's still on? Stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, why is you asking me this? But it's because she would want to help. She would want to look out. She want to make sure I'm good. Jahara, what you eat today? You got something to eat? And God is the same way. He wants to provide our every need. He can provide our every need according to his riches and glory. That's what the word says. But we look at God the same way we view our natural relationships, and that prevents us from having a strong relationship with God because of that feeling that we're going to be let down, the feeling that we're going to be rejected, the feeling that he's going to stop blessing us or stop doing for us or put us on punishment. And sometimes God will, chastise us because he loves us, but it's never to the point of our detriment. It's only to build us up and show us where we're wrong, show us how to make sure we're getting it right, because he's a loving God. He's not just this big bad guy who's just so mean and who's going to turn you away whenever you mess up. I mess up so much, y'all. Like, it's trifling how much I mess up. And a lot of times I know I be messing up. And then it's like, I still gonna mess up anyway. But God doesn't throw us away. And God is so amazing to me, because it's like when other people give up on me, or when other people have given up on me, like it broke me. And it's like, God, I feel like I'm not worthy of being loved. I feel like I'm not important enough, to have anybody to stay. And that all stemmed back from childhood. And it's like, God, so my real parental situation, I'm here. And then, I'm not exactly tied, to mommy, daddy. I am, but I'm not. So on a good day, I'm like, everything is everything. Mommy, daddy this, mommy, daddy that. But then on a bad day, it's just like, dang, I need to overcompensate. Mother's Day coming up. So I ain't got no money, right? But I'm finna go spend everything I got at Macy's and Dillard's and finna get you stuff that you don't even need. You 78 and some, why you need 3 purses? You're not even going nowhere. What you need clothes for? You don't go nowhere. Where you going? To the hairdresser, to the doctor's appointment? Daddy don't ever want nothing. He been telling me for years, Jahara, you ain't got to get me nothing. But because that little girl in me is like, you do need something. I got to get you something. All your kids got these great jobs. They making however much they make, and they well taken care of. They can do all this stuff. But me feeling like I got to make up for not having your last name. Now I'm doing too much, and now I'm hurting. And now it's appreciated, but it's not as appreciated because I didn't even ask for this. But with God, it's like, we don't have to worry about not having his last name, because we have his name. We are his children. Regardless of what your name is, regardless if you've been saved 27 years, if you just got saved today, you're still his children, and God still loves us, and he still cares about us. So he's not going to let us down. And I had to learn how, and I'm still learning how, to just trust him fully and relinquish control, that no, you're not going to leave me. No, you're not going to get tired of me. No, you're never going to be too busy for me where you're not able to hear my prayers, where you're not able to handle my needs. Anything I've ever needed, I already had. And I didn't even realize that, whether it was a relationship that turned out to be fruitful, as far as me getting something to eat one day, or you throwing me $20 one day, you were already in my life, and God just put it on your heart to, look out for me. God will just show you, even not just from a financial standpoint. And that's another thing I would like to say too. I watched mommy and daddy pay tithes, and I believe I said last week on live how daddy taught me, he instilled in me that when you don't pay tithes, it'll go lacking somewhere else. And he instilled that in me. So now when I was growing up in church, we used to get tithe statements. I can't file taxes. I can't put that on my taxes saying I gave this much to the church, but I was so happy. I was like, y'all tithes ain't gonna look like mine. My tithes gonna look hefty. And I'm a child. I'm not making nothing. I just might get money here and there, but birthday money, I'm gonna make sure I give my 10%. And even now it's just floating to my adult life that whenever you don't give God his, you do go lacking somewhere in your finances. Your tire pop. Now you ain't got no air in your tire. Now you got to go get you another brand new tire. But if you had to pay your tithes, I'm not saying that it still wouldn't pop. But I just know every time I didn't give God his, I went hurting and my money dried up like that. I'm spending money on unnecessary stuff, but I'm failing to give God just 10%. That's all he asks for is 10%. That's it. That's all. And some people try to downplay it, be like, you can just give to the homeless and, you can just buy somebody's child, a 4 for $4 because their mama said you ain't got no Wendy's money. No, that's all cool and all. You can be a good steward and bless other people and sow into good ground, but you still have to give God his. And that's another thing growing up. Mom and dad, they ain't play that. You're not finna take away from what you're actually supposed to be doing. If God's word said this, then that's that. That's how you're supposed to play it, regardless of any outside opinions or voices that you may hear. And that's helped me in my adult life, especially with social media. You see so many different things that people are doing, and it will sway you to maybe I should try this. Maybe if I just do this, then I will be fine. Maybe if I'm just a good person. But no, like if you're not saved, then it's a wrap. Like you're still not meeting the goal that you need to be meeting. And I hate to say it so straightforward like that, but it's the truth. And if I don't give it to you like that, then you might not understand. You might not grasp it. You might feel like you can just hold off on it or wait on it. And another thing that I've learned too, just in my own life, just by being connected to where I am at church, my pastor explained to me, you can't accelerate anybody else's process. I used to, when I learned certain stuff or when I felt myself shifting from certain scenes, I used to feel like everybody connected to me had to get on the same page, like one band, one sound. But it's not always like that. Your season is your season. You don't know that the people that you left behind for a season, who they're being able to draw to God. So if I stop clubbing, I can't make you stop clubbing. You grown. That's just me. I just shifted out of that season. I no longer feel comfortable doing that. I no longer want to do that. But that's not for me to say, oh, well, I feel like I'm coming up higher in God and I'm just this deep person. No, you do what you do. And I'll talk to you while you're getting ready to go to the club. I'll talk to you after. And I'm going to say a prayer while you're putting your makeup on to make sure don't nobody shoot you. Make sure you get home safe and sound. Make sure you don't get pulled over. Make sure you don't get a DUI. That's my job as your friend. You see what I'm saying? But just because you learn something too doesn't mean that it's for everybody else. Like I said last week, sometimes you just have to apply those words, those little nuggets that you get to your own life until you are perfect in it, perfected yourself in that area so that now you can be a good example. Because how can I tell you something if I'm not fluently doing it? That's going to confuse you. And also, while I was reading in 1 Corinthians this month, if you're doing something that's confusing to somebody who doesn't believe at the rate that you believe, who has not come into the full understanding of who God is and what the gospel looks like, now you at odds with God because you're throwing somebody off on their path. So say, for instance, if I drink, right, but you feel as though you're being shifted out of that season and you no longer feel like you can drink. Like God told me I can't drink this, that, and the third. And then I come over here and I'm like, girl, the Bible say don't be giving them much wine. Girl, you can drink. Even Jesus turned water into wine. But if that's your conviction, I can't say anything about that. And you won't see me drink in front of you. I won't drink in front of you no more. I'll just drink when I get to the house. I'm not going to do that in front of you because that's going to, especially if you're still able to be tempted. So for me, like when I started fasting, baby, if I go somewhere and I see some chicken and I can grab me a piece because I just started fasting, oh, yeah, give me a 2-piece and a biscuit and a large sweet tea with a jalapeno pepper on the side. And matter of fact, give me another biscuit and an apple pie, please. We'll fast tomorrow. We'll try this again tomorrow. Then the next day come, and then I slip up again because I have not fully been persuaded. I have not fully shifted into the place where I'm able to be strong in what I believe to be right. So if I do that to somebody else who's trying to believe, who is like a new Christian or whatever the case may be, or you've already been a Christian for years, but now you're just now coming back into the fold, actively trying to do the will of God for your life, and you feel God and said this one thing, who am I to come against you? If I'm your sister in Christ, and I'm supposed to be helping you, I'm supposed to be helping you remain accountable, then I'm wrong. I'm wrong against you, and I'm wrong against God, because I've confused you. And now that has swayed your walk, and now it's tainting what you're doing. And because who I am, you feel as though I hold some weight on a spiritual level, even though it's the God in me, but you feel like because I've been saved for longer than you, I'm supposed to, if I say it's okay, then now you feel like it's okay. Well, Jahira said, but since I'm supposed to be that example, since we're all as believers supposed to be examples to the world, now I'm wrong. I'm flawed in my reasoning, regardless of if the word says that or not, if that's my conviction or not, because I ain't nobody Holy Ghost. I can't tell you, I can't convict you as to what you should or should not do. And if you feel like God is telling you, hey, this ain't your season to do that, whether it's indefinitely or just for a short period of time, I can't come against that and tell you to do anything else. So you have my full support, right? That's how we're supposed to look at things. And I'm just grateful for that understanding. I'm grateful for reading that, because when I read that last week, I was just like, God, how many times do we do that? How many times do we give people advice and it's just our advice? That's again why it's important to be connected to the right people who know these things, because it's like a lot of times people will give you their advice of what they would do, but it's not what God would do, and it'll hinder you on your journey. Say, for instance, you need healing in a certain area, or you're trying to restore something, a relationship with somebody. But because you getting this advice, oh, well, girl, if it was me, I would do this. Girl, you crazy. Girl, you tripping. Man, you shouldn't even be doing. If that were me, I'd do this, that, and the third. I walk so and so like a dog if this was me. But it's not you. What does God say that you should do? God said you should turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. God said that you should be forgiven. God said that you should love, because love covers a multitude of sins. So regardless of what you do, love should cover all of that. And that's one thing that I'm grateful for, as far as my upbringing as well, how it was just a setup for me to even sit here and tell you that, because I do a whole lot of stuff that would be off. And I always felt in the back of my mind, if y'all wanted to, y'all could send me back to Brooklyn in a heartbeat, because I done made y'all mad, or I done got a effing school, I done been expelled, this, that, and the third. But they showed me agape love as far as that's concerned, because they never sent me away. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, popping off at the mouth. I used to be a little disrespectful as a child, because I didn't understand. I never grasped the concept that even if you're right, sometimes you just have to take the humble seat and be quiet. I see mommy do that when she might get into it with daddy sometimes. Not like a bad argument, but they just didn't see eye to eye on something. She'd just be like, okay. And she'd be quiet. And I used to be like, but mommy, this, that, da, 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 da. She's like, it's okay. He's just like that. That's fine. It's cool. Just pray for him. And when me and daddy might get into it, just pray for him. Mommy, I ain't praying for nobody. No, for what? He done made me mad. Is he in there praying for me? No. He watching wrestling. But do you want me to sit up here and have a prayer meeting? No, I think not. But I get it now, how a lot of times people, they just might not see their error. And you have to show grace and extend grace and just let certain stuff roll off of you. I learned that everything isn't so personal. My siblings taught me that. They grew up with daddy long before I did. And daddy's been the same way. And they're all fine, functioning people. And it's like, daddy gonna do that. Daddy gonna do that. And a lot of times we hold on to offenses, or we hold on to our opinions and our ideas so much so that we can't even move on and move forward in relationships with other people, because we compare them to the people who hurt us, and we feel as though everyone is the same when they're not. And in reality, we just need to heal and extend the same grace to people that we will want extended to us. And I've learned that. I'm still learning that, how to extend that same grace, because I do want the grace that God shows from exemplified through other people, because sometimes we hurt people unintentionally. Sometimes our actions just be flawed. At the end of the day, just keeping it transparent, just being real. Sometimes we just mess up. Sometimes we just be terrible people. We're terrible friends. We're terrible spouses. We're terrible people in leadership. And that's just something that we have to check within ourselves. Like, why is that? When did this start? How can I fix this? What childhood trait is this? When did I start lying? When I start cheating, when I start cussing, when I start doing all this stuff, when I start throwing stuff across the room because I'm mad. Just giving examples here. But I understand that these are things that a lot of people do, and I can identify with a lot of it. I'm grateful for everyone who does tune in, who could take away anything from what I'm saying. Look back at your life, and when you walk into purpose specifically, as I am now, as I'm doing this podcast, as I'm able to recollect certain things that happened through my childhood that I might not have even thought about until I got on the live and started talking. How it shaped my mentality, how it shaped the way I've healed, how I see now how a lot of the hurt I've experienced was self-inflicted, because a lot of the things people have already moved on from, but it's me who's still harboring it. And what I had to learn was everything that I went through was just a setup for where I am now, how I'm able to encourage other people, because God knew me before I was even thought of, right? So he knew that I'd be put in rooms with people who might only listen to me because of my vibe or because of my personality, because I'm funny, because I can make you laugh in a second. But then on the opposite end, I can still give you an encouraging word, but not be too churchy like, your mom and dad and them. Because a lot of times our parents and folks close to us say stuff, and it go through one ear and not the other. Then you talk to somebody else, you talk to your homegirl, talk to your pastor or somebody else, and it be like, oh, that's what you was. That makes so much sense. But you was already hearing that the whole time. And I've learned that even now, as I do go to church, a lot of the things that are said across the pulpit are things I grew up hearing. I just never applied them. I never just took the time to really pay attention. One thing my mom and daddy always used to say was, "How you just keep on living, you gonna see. You keep on living, you gonna see everything it is that we've been saying." I've had to even go back and be like, "Daddy, you remember when you told me this a few years ago? I ain't see it then, but now I understand it." And it's the same thing with God as well. God tells us certain things and we don't listen. And then the longer that we keep living, the longer we keep on going on about our lives, how we go about it, then we begin to see what it is that he was trying to say the whole time. We see how we missed the breakthrough. We see how we missed the blessing, all because of our lack of disobedience. And I just wanted to wrap this podcast up tonight by telling you and encouraging you that if you don't understand certain things that you've been through, if you've ever been mad at God for allowing you to go through some things you went through in childhood, regardless of what it is, whether it was good or bad, just begin to thank him that you did come up the way you did, especially as a child, because as a parent, you don't want to reflect the same things in your parents that you grew up seeing with your own children by harboring so negatively on it, saying that you won't do this, that, and the third. See what it is. Make sure identify those things within you, right? So that you can get it right this time, so you can break those generational curses. So I thank everybody who tuned into this video on tonight, into episode 2. It was a setup for the Book I Won't Write podcast. Real quick, I'm just going to go over 2 of my sponsors for tonight. I'm so grateful to them. I have the CoWork Boutique by Shay Anderson, and then I also have Ramp Audio and Visuals by David and Jodeci Denson. Give me 1 second and I will put them on the screen. So it cut out for a second as I was talking, but I'm just going to go over what I was trying to read before. So, Ramp Audio and Visuals is a print shop that serves Columbus, Georgia, and the surrounding areas. They offer a wide range of services for personal and professional projects such as banners, posters, graphic design, brochures, business cards, flyers, stickers. Some of our most common customers include businesses, event planners, nonprofit organizations, entrepreneurs, churches, offices, schools, athletes, and graduates. And you don't have to be included in the list to take advantage of the services of Ramp Audio and Visuals. As long as you need something printed, you can contact us. So their Facebook is going to be Ramp Audio and Visuals. I did make sure to include their handles in the description box, so make sure you check them out. On Instagram at Ramp Audio, that's RAMP AUDIO, and then the number that can be reached at in case you do need those brochures, those flyers, anything like that, your banners for your businesses in case y'all be having pop-up shops that y'all have to go to. That number is going to be 706-610-0187. Again, that number is 706-610-0187, and that is for Ramp Audio and Visuals. And then next up, we are going to have the CoWork Boutique. Anybody who follows me knows that I have been here forever. That's where I am based at right now doing this video, is at the CoWork Boutique. They're located at 2411 Warm Springs Road. If you need to come out and get any work done, you can. The CoWork Boutique is a co-working space for women entrepreneurs and corporate professionals. Our space provides a collaborative environment where women can connect, communicate, and collaborate to take their businesses to the next level. We offer flexible workspaces and amenities to meet your unique needs. Let us help you achieve your professional goals. And I did make sure to include their information in the description as well. Also, they have a Gal Pal special that they're doing. It is $14 until Valentine's Day, February the 14th. So make sure you get your membership. It's only $14. Make sure you tap in with these businesses. You will be so happy that you did. I know that I am. So, like I said, I did include the descriptions for their links and stuff in the video. So, once again, thank you to our sponsors, the CoWork Boutique and Ramp Audio and Visuals. Thank you so much for tuning in with me tonight. Again, I am your host, Jahira Brooks, and I hope that you all have a great night. Love y'all. See y'all next time.